Hello everybody, and welcome back to Odin's Movie Blog. I am the critic who is a cynic. How is everyone doing this evening? Happy Saturday to everyone. Hope everyone's weekend is going well, and welcome to episode 191 of the Welcome to Asgard podcast, where anything can happen. But today we'll be focusing mostly on movie delays and why I think that it's leaving theaters in a position where they are very little likely to be able to fully recover or recover at all, and why essentially studios are digging their own grave by allowing this process to unfold. We actually talked about this a little bit last night on Friday Night Tights, where we had a bunch of special guests. We had, of course, that Umbrella Guy and Yellow Flash, and one of the points that was brought up was that, well, we shouldn't have to, or we really shouldn't be bailing out any of these companies because that is just not the nature and that's not what our tax dollars should be used for. And the argument that was brought up made a lot of sense to me because I do genuinely and generally speaking agree with being against bailouts. I don't like bailouts by the very nature. If a giant company makes bad investments, makes bad mistakes, hey, that's the nature of business. You know, the business is going to go under. My mindset, though, with theaters is that their business and industry has been impacted by something that was completely outside of their control, by many states forcing the theaters to shut down, which is why, personally, I think, at the very least, state and local governments should take some responsibility in taking care of those specific theaters and taking care of those specific companies, if it is a company that owns a specific theater or specific theater chain. That being said, though, I don't think a single dime should be going to Hollywood because Hollywood is in a position right now where they can be putting out movies into these theaters. And if they were actually putting these new movies out, guess what would be happening? They may not be making the massive big bucks that they are normally making, but at least they would be making something. And then guess what happens? You have eventually more and more theaters open. You have eventually more and more people getting comfortable with the idea of going back to a theater. And guess what happens? Slowly over time, you're able to build up that audience once again. What the studios are doing right now, though, as we just saw recently with No Time to Die now moving to July or summer of 2021, and many other theaters, or rather many other movies, doing this as well by moving out of theaters at their original time slots and moving almost a year ahead in advance, is they're leaving the theaters that are currently open left in the dust, left with nothing to show, left with only a couple of new releases where people in studios and really people behind the movies, like, for example, Christopher Nolan with Tenet, actually had the cojones to put his movie out there, to put the risk out there because he knew he wanted his film to be seen on the big screen. He was proud of his film. He was proud of his product. And guess what? Even with all the conditions, even with all the crap going on in the world, guess what? The film is still making around $280 million. Not enough to make its investment back. That is indeed true. But it is enough to show that people are willing to go back to the theaters for new releases. And if the studios would get their heads out of their asses and would stop trying to count their shekels and could continue to release new movies on a regularly scheduled basis, guess what? That money on those big budget films would continue to grow and grow and grow. And then the theaters would be okay. Maybe a few of them would have to close. That's the nature of the business. There's nothing that can be done about that. Studios would probably make some money on some films, might not make any money on other films, might lose money on certain films, might make money on films that they had never realized they would make money on. But what they're doing right now, by delaying everything 6 months to a year past when they were supposed to come out, is they are leaving the theaters in the dust. They are essentially guaranteeing not just a few handful of theaters closing, but mass amounts of them closing. Theater chains themselves going under completely. And then what are we left with? Oh, wait, that's right. And this is something where I do definitely agree with that Umbrella Guy in Yellow Flash. Then you're left with the American people having to give handouts to giant corporations. And I do agree that that is something that I am not for on the national level. Statewide level, local level, I think something should be done for those businesses that were forced to close. If I'm a mayor or if I'm a governor and my policies led to a certain business shutting down and losing revenue, guess what? That means it's on me to have to make it back. Simple as that. They would have continued to remain open. They would have continued to make some revenue from people willing to go. But because of a governor or a mayor or a local authority, that's why they lost revenue. And then at that point, it is that person's job. It is that person's responsibility to make up for any lost revenue, not future revenue, lost revenue. To me, that just seems the fairest thing to do. Personally, I don't think that anything should have been shut down. But unfortunately, this is where we are. And to me, it just doesn't make sense. It's not right to me for if I was a governor and I told a business, you have to shut down, you have no choice, and then that business is losing money, and then that business has to get to the point of it might being able to close, and then all of a sudden, months later, I'm like, well, that's not my fault, even though it is because I'm the one that shut the business down in the first place. You see where I'm coming from with this? Like, there is definitely a line. There is definitely a line to be had there. And I think that it's something that we must consider. Because at the end of the day, it is regular, ordinary, everyday people. We can talk about corporations. We can talk about the people behind those corporations. But guess what? At the bottom of them all are regular, ordinary people who did nothing wrong, who lost their job, who were put on furlough for months and months and months, losing out on revenue. And one could argue saying that's the nature of any business, of any industry, right? Things are constantly in a state of flux. Things are constantly closing and shutting down and moving to something different. This is true. The difference here is that this was something that was not a natural part of the course of economics. This instead was something that was forced upon these companies, forced upon these industries, forced upon these workers. Not because of bad business dealings, not because of the nature of the marketplace, but because of a pandemic that was vastly overblown, and because of governors and mayors and other idiots who shut down the entire economy and essentially destroyed the economy, which, thank God, it's coming back for the most part. But dear Lord, the more and more that days go by, the more and more pissed off that I get about the actions done by states, by the federal government, as you all know, as a member of the Catholic Church, by my bishops, who also did the same thing, shut down churches, shut down sacraments. Ticks me off. Ridiculous. Anyway, that's my rant for the day. Let me go ahead and say hello to some beautiful people in the chat. Thank you very much for putting up with that rant. So let's say hello to my D-Laugh fam first off, because, of course, D-Laugh fam, there's a little bit less people over there, but that's okay. I indeed love them all equally, as I love all of my Asgardian family equally. We got Captain Mr. Roy over there, Phone Nemo, Mr. Peabody. How is it going, Mr. Peabody? Mr. Peabody, I'm very sorry I was not able to make it to the post office. As you know, things have been crazy here lately. I am definitely going to try to make it there either Monday or Tuesday before Tuesday's stream, because just as a future announcement for everyone, Tuesday likely will be my last stream for a while. As you all know, as some of you might know if you've been on the streams recently, I am having a son. And on Wednesday, he will be at week 40 in his development. And there's a very good chance that we'll have to induce, which means that by Friday or Saturday, baby Thor will be in the world. Maybe Sunday, but let's hope not, for the sake of Freya. But with that happening, though, my stream schedule will definitely be delayed. I cannot give an ETA on when it'll come back. I would say at the very least, it'll be 2 full weeks. So 2 full weeks of not being on Friday Night Tights, of not being on the Tuesday or Saturday streams. And I would say it's more likely going to be closer to a month, just because, of course, I want to make sure that Frey is going well. I obviously want to spend as much of that time with the baby, enjoying and taking in and soaking in all of those precious moments that I possibly can. And obviously, as you all know, and that's why I'm very loving and grateful to the Asgardian community, is that y'all get it. Y'all understand. And you all understand the concept of family first, and especially a new life, a new person being brought into the world is definitely going to need even more of that attention. So I will try, though, getting back to Peabody, I will try and make sure I can get to the post office, so that way on Tuesday's stream, since it will probably be the last one for a while, I can show that, and I can give you the shout out that you so rightfully deserve for always being so incredibly generous, and especially since it is a gift for baby Thor. Anyway, Philly the Hobbit in the chat, dropping the Pikachu. What's going on, Philly the Hobbit? Hope you're going well. Cabinet Dean Heiss is over there as well. Will Gentry is here. How is it going, Will Gentry? Glad to see you here. Philly the Hobbit, thank you for the lemon donation, good sir. I appreciate it. We got Captain Adam, Frank, and the Clan in the chat as well. How is it going? We got Captain J-Rod, the beer guru. What's going on, Captain J-Rod? Peabody says, that's okay. I know it's been hectic. Hey, dude, thank you for understanding. And yeah, and I, again, as I said, I should be able to hopefully have a second, because luckily the post office is not too far away from me. It's just one of those things where I can only ever get to it really when I'm on the way to it, because otherwise I'm taking care of things at home or I'm going to work, and it's just impossible for me to be able to make a stop off during the day. So yes, but thank you very much for being very understanding of that, and thank you again for sending it to as well. Let's see. Peabody says, from me and Adam, couldn't have done it without Adam. Well, thank you again to Adam as well for being the American counterpart and counterpoint to our Aussie friend, Mr. Peabody. Captain Dean Heiss, thank you for the 4 ice cream donations. I very much appreciate that. All right, let me jump back over into YouTube land. Liam Neeson's chin. What's going on, Liam Neeson's chin? He was here at 5:50, so he was here quite early. Fabled Narrative was here. Mike Jackson in the chat. Tina B, thank you again for being here. She is indeed the Empress of the Universe. Golden Ration in the chat says, good evening, Odin. Good evening, all. Good evening to you, Golden Ration. Fabled Narrative. Hi, Odin. Much luck with a little Odin soon to come. Hashtag pizza. Fabled Narrative. Thank you. I very much appreciate that. And yeah, it'll be interesting. It's our first, so it's a brand new experience for me. I've had little nieces and nephews, but not the same thing. Being the uncle that gets to go to visit and then leave, not the same thing as, oh no, you're around almost every second of every moment of every day for many years. But I'm looking forward to it. Very much so. Alrighty, let's see. Robert Frey in the chat, how is it going? 70B in the chat, how is it going? Glad to see you here. Let us see. Rob D. Baxter in the chat. Brian Barth in the chat as well. GMonkey76, how's it going? Hope you're doing well. Again, God, my General 70B is in the chat. Alice McCarthy, what's going on at 659? Says, howdy, and how's it going? How's the pizza? And the Mrs. Pizza was great last night. Mrs. is doing fine. Brian Barr says, what do you think of Superman 78? I hated it. The ending sucked. The ending was atrocious, and I've not seen any of the others, so. Mr. Peabody is also a member over on YouTube as well. Well, Gentry over there, too. We got HyperNex13, JKD Buck 76. How is it going? Good, sir. Zion Waters, how is it going? Bruce, who's a member of the channel, how's it going, Bruce? Daryl H, how's it going? Waiting for Nerdrotic Laura, how's it going? How is it going? Glad to see you here. Glad to see everyone here. Just another red shirt, how's it going? Speaking of red shirt, I was able to this morning on Geeks and Gamers Premium. Mr. Roy was there. I did a stream, movie stream, basically a Saturday movie morning stream for the Geeks and Gamers Premium team, and I watched for the first time in my life Wrath of Khan, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. I did not like the first one, Star Trek the movie. Wasn't a fan of it. Very long, very boring, not that interesting, and I'm not really a Trekkie in the first place. Wrath of Khan, though, great film. Like, everything about it. From a technical aspect, great cinematography, fantastic acting, great storytelling. It was fantastic. I loved it. So Wrath of Khan gets a huge... I didn't give it a grade for them, but I'd give it an A- for sure. Definitely an A-level film. HyperNex13701 says, James Bond doesn't have time to die and get delayed. JK, how's it going? Oh, yeah, man. Absolutely. That and many other films. Again, No Time to Die was once scheduled to be released April 10th of this year, was then pushed back to November of this year, and now won't be coming out until around April 2nd of 2021. Even though it is a film that many people are speculating could be woke, or at the very least could have some problems, it is still a movie that is big. Again, James Bond is a pretty big name. It's a pretty big franchise. Also, it's the last of the Daniel Craig James Bond films. So it's pretty big deal for that film to move out of its slot the way that it did. No question about it. Alrighty, here. Let us see. Where are we? Forever Sci-Fi says, hail to you. Nathan Slay in the chat as well. Forever Sci-Fi, thank you for being a member on the channel. Really do appreciate that. Let us see. Ralph, how's it going, Ralph? The Hunky Chunky Funky Monkey, how's it going? Soul Assassin, how's it going? I said cojones. You should know what that means. Cojones. Bruce, a member, says Battle Angels coming back to the big screen. Yes, indeed. The Alita Army, after much tweeting and retweeting, etc., Cinemark and both Cinemark and Regal have indeed said that they plan to re-release Alita Battle Angel. Even the director, Robert Rodriguez, was able to tweet that out as well. And so it will get a re-release on the big screen. Here's the thing, though. It's still very hard to say whether or not that's going to have any impact whatsoever on a sequel. And again, I always appreciate the hard work that the people over with Alita Army do, the people behind the official Alita Army account, for everyone that's a fan of Alita that uses the hashtag. You remember, because no one owns the hashtag. But the fact that it has enough fans where it's able to get that kind of support is just awesome. It's just fantastic. But I do want people to be very clear that I don't think that is the most effective way for it to get a sequel. And in the end, I don't think a sequel is going to be in the cards for several years. Because, one, James Cameron, the guy that owns the rights, he's in Avatar land forever. I think some were excited because they heard he was wrapping up on Avatar 2 and 3. Here's the problem, though. He's still, at the same time, continuing to go forward with 4 and 5. He's not stopping. Avatar is going to be his life for the next 5+ years. So unless you want to wait 5+ years for an Alita sequel, I mean, think about that. Rosa Salazar will be 5 years older. A lot of the characters, 5 years older. It's possible they could still do it that way, but in all honesty, I don't see how you do it without James Cameron on as a producer. And I just don't think he has the time or the attention to back the film. So again, as much as I love the film, as much as I would love for a sequel to happen, James Cameron's kind of that linchpin. I really honestly think that. You know, it's because, as I said, he owns those rights to be able to put it onto the big screen. So theoretically, he could sell those rights. Theoretically, someone else could take over that job for him. But the chances of that happening, again, the film was not a major success in theaters. I love the movie. I wanted people to go see it. But in the end, it was around $30 million loss in theaters. Now, I think it made a lot of that money back up on Blu-ray, DVD, Steelbook, etc. But at the end of the day, also, it was not a massive hit, massive success that a studio would want to. And also, keep in mind, that's when Fox owned it. Fox might have been willing to do that. Then again, Fox was notorious for canceling a lot of great sci-fi shows. Firefly being a great example of that. But with Disney now behind it, Disney now owns the distribution of the first Alita, even though Cameron still owns the rights to it, to make it. Is Disney going to be willing to put money behind it? And if they were, wouldn't that mean that there's a good chance that they're not going to let the film be the same tone and quality of the first one, but instead try to push a narrative? Because that's just what Disney does in everything they touch and everything they do nowadays. So at the end of the day, it's almost like, would I really want to have a Disney-run, Disney-produced sequel to a movie that I loved? So again, it's awesome that it's getting pushed back into theaters. I think that's great. Again, more eyes getting to see it, more people falling in love with the property. That's great. That's all good. But we got to keep it real. We got to keep ourselves grounded. And I think a lot of people, unfortunately, are keeping their heads in the clouds and they're not staying grounded in reality and not thinking things through. Anyway, Nathan Slay says, "Hey man, I really feel like movie studios are being so selfish when they delayed movies like Black Widow and No Time to Die. It annoyed me because it will hurt theaters." Yeah, it is. It's completely selfish because, and again, this was the good point being made last night. Studios are assuming that Congress is going to step in and bail out the theaters. And that's just the thing, is that I think the theaters do deserve to get some help, again, from state level. Because if a state told them they had to close and forced them to close, at that point, any lost revenue, that's not their fault. Again, they were forced to do something. I never like when government steps in and tells businesses what to do. I think that's a bad thing. That is crony capitalism, and it sucks. That being said, if you are going to do that, then you have to also allow them the ability to make that money back. And unless you're going to offer a tax credit, unless you're going to offer an exemption from something, from exemption from paying certain taxes, again, there's different ways to do it. Unless you're going to do that at the local level, all you really have left then is the federal level. And again, I don't like bailouts, but it's just tough situation. I wish that we could just say, no, let's go ahead and let's just sue. And this would be awesome if the theater chains came together, if places like AMC and Regal and Cinemark were somehow able to come together and sue major studios, that'd be awesome. Now, I don't know what kind of case they could have. I don't know what they could possibly argue unless they have contracts where it's assumed that movies will be released, that new movies will be released, that any movie that they get a poster for and they promote has to be released in a certain period of time. And if that is not the case in their contracts, I guarantee you the contracts between studios and theaters is going to change forever. Because now the theaters know they cannot trust the studios at all. The studios will leave them high and dry. High and dry. And it's sad. It's crazy. Again, I'm in this in-between space. I really don't feel passionately one way or the other when it comes to the bailout question, as I hopefully made that pretty clear. HyperX13 says, I don't know whose situation was worse this year, HBO Max with their censorship crap or Netflix with their BS with that quote-unquote flick. I don't want to mention the name. I get PTSD. Hey, I don't blame you. Again, people are still defending it. People are still defending it. It's disgusting. By the way, 18 minutes ago, very sorry, Lone Tiger, thank you for the $1 donation, says, hey, Odin, hope you're doing well. Did you and John already film the podcast this week? If not, when will you be doing that? Well, Lone Tiger, thank you for the question, man. And so we did not. So we were planning to film it a couple of days ago. That's why the Q&A had the Q&A post had been put out on Patreon, Subscribestar, and YouTube members. Unfortunately, though, John has been dealing with a headache for the last several days. We were scheduled to do it the next day. I was ready to go. 2 hours later, he woke up from a nap because he's still dealing with it. And at that time, it was too late for me to be able to start. So stay tuned on that. I hope that we can work out the schedule for it. But we'll see what happens. Brandon Knox, thank you very much for subscribing. Let us see. I definitely plan to get the podcast though recorded before baby's born, because once baby's born, I won't be able to do it. Let us see. Rob D tagged at 705. Hey Odin, I picked up 4 DVDs for $4 at the flea market today. National Treasure 1 and 2, Unknown, and The Man. Why are you getting DVDs? Why are you getting that poor 480p quality crap? You can get those movies for $1 on Blu-ray. Blu-ray is the future. It is the present. Roof Korean 92 tagged and says, what percentage of theaters are owned by China? AMC 49%. I have no sympathy for China's investments. Theater workers can make money elsewhere. I keep hearing this argument, dude, and I'm sick of it. I'm so sick and tired of it, man. Because the theater workers did not choose who bought the company. And if we're going to go down that route, Roof Korean, I have to ask you, do you happen to own an iPhone? Do you own an Apple product? Do you own a myriad of products that have been made in China? Because if you do, guess what? Your entire mindset with the theaters is hypocrisy. If you're going to attack and relish in the failure of a theater, of a company in general, because it happens to have ties with China at all, come on, man. It's one thing for me to go after Mulan because the movie sucked, and to go after Disney for thanking a group specifically tied to a concentration camp in China. It's another for you to say, oh, it's kind of owned by China, and so therefore it's good. No. Those theater workers are innocent. And as I said before, if we're going to play that game, there's a lot of things then that we can't buy, that we can't watch, that we can't support. And some people might be willing to go through that. I don't have the time to go through and look at the financials of every single company. That gets me. That triggers me. There's few things that trigger me. That's one of them. Because I remember I made several videos on AMC theaters going out of business, and every time there'd be people saying, well, it's owned by China, so that's a good thing. Again, it's not owned by China. It means that there are companies in China that have invested into those companies and have members on the board. But it also means that there are people that own it from America as well. That America has an investment in that. And guess what? That thousands upon thousands of American jobs that hire Americans also are present. I'm not willing to throw those thousands upon thousands of workers under the bus for something like this. Again, if theaters are already going down, right? Let's say COVID never happened, but theaters were in a bad place. That would be an entirely different scenario, because that would be the natural progression. That would be the natural occurrence of economic changes. And that happens. There's no stopping that. This is different because theaters and businesses were forced to close by a government agency. Big difference. One is being forced to close because of economic reasons, being forced to close because they can't afford to stay open. The other is a government saying, no, you are not allowed to be open. If you decide to stay open, you will be fined or you will be forced to close. Different scenario. Different scenario. Anyway. Whew. Forever Sci-Fi, 706. The American people are struggling themselves. It's insulting that they are being asked to bail anyone out. Well, here's the thing, Forever Sci-Fi, though, is that there already have been essentially bailouts given to the regular everyday person. I mean, me and my wife, we were able to get a check. We got money during the worst of quarantine. So, no, American people have actually already been taken care of. Businesses obviously are a little bit of a different animal, though, right? Because they have business expenses, they have rent to pay, they have employees to pay. They've got a lot more things to cover. Again, that's not to say that we people don't have a lot of things to cover, but if we're going to say that an individual person has more to deal with than an entire company, a little bit different, right? So the people have already been bailed out. And again, when it comes to these bailouts being specifically geared towards companies that have been impacted because they were forced to close by said government agency, I don't really have as much of a problem with that. Versus bailing out the auto industry because of what happened back in 2008. Different time, different scenario. Economic reasons versus government forcing company to do said thing. Hopefully y'all are seeing that there's a clear difference there. I hope that I'm getting through to you. Orange Eye Review says, sorry I'm late. Got caught up in a movie. No problem at all, man. Movies are great. Alex McCarthy says, I'd vote Odin for governor. I don't know about that. I don't know if everyone would feel the same way. Lord knows that I would probably get brought to court several times over. Mostly for my moral stances on a variety of topics. Let's see. Waiting for Nerdrotic. Laura says, Ben Shapiro and other lawyers have argued that the government closing businesses means that the government owes these businesses for their losses. Dude, yes, Laura, thank you. That's what I'm trying to say. I don't know if I've been saying it that way, but that is what I'm trying to say. So Laura said it best, right? That some people have argued that the government closing businesses means then that said government that actively closed those businesses therefore owes those businesses for any losses that they had because of the closure. Again, AMC had debt. We're not talking about paying off the debt AMC had. We're talking about AMC and any other company that was forced to close by government mandate. There is a difference there. And yeah, I would be on the side of Ben Shapiro and other lawyers there too, right? It'd be one thing if they closed naturally. It'd be one thing if they closed because of economic issues. It's another if they are being forced to close. Forever Sci-Fi 706. I actually had a family video in my neighborhood. It's closing. So this is not just killing theaters, but the last remnants of the rental industry. There you go, too. Yeah, absolutely. It's killing businesses all across. I mean, again, Gary Nerdrotic, right? His wife had to close down her salon because they were losing business, because they were forced to close. And I know, I think Gary was saying this last night, and again, I apologize if I'm not wording this correctly, but I believe that for him, he said, no, I don't think that we deserve a bailout. I think that's kind of the mindset that he took. Me, though, I think he would. I think, no. If San Francisco is forcing you to stay closed, especially when they're allowing other businesses to open, I would say then whoever it is that was responsible for making that decision, to me, it's their responsibility to make sure you get back any money you lost. And it's sad because obviously it's the taxpayers that are put on the bill. Man, oh man, if only we could say, oh, hey, governor, if you want to close, let's make a law. If a governor closes a business, the governor has to pay for it out of his own pocket. Wouldn't that be interesting? That would change a lot of choices made by governors and mayors, wouldn't it? Ooh, that's a good idea, actually. Maybe that's something that we should try and push for in our local legislations. Yeah, next time there's a pandemic, if a company is forced to close in any city or town by a specific individual person in government, it is that individual person in government's responsibility to pay any money lost back. and not the taxpayer. It would be different if the taxpayers voted and decided on whether a business should be forced to close or not. Isn't that a thought? Isn't that an interesting thought? Maybe. I'm sure I'm triggering some people, but that's okay. We're doing just fine. All right, the chat has jumped on me on YouTube. Looks like some comments may have been skipped. Let me jump back over to my DLAF fam and catch up with those people. So let's see. We got some followers over there. Probably trolls. Oh, Lord. Yes, there it is. Anytime I see a different language, it's like, do. Bye-bye. Yeah. Mods, whenever you see someone putting in a different language, automatically gone. Because on DLive, it's very clear that they are not even Russian, Turkish trolls for some reason. Captain High says, at least with Baby Thor, you'll have something good to remember about 2020. Congrats. As for the first time off, do what you got to do. Hey, thank you very much, Captain High. I appreciate it. And yeah, it's interesting to tell my son in the future, the year you were born. What could I tell you about the year that you were born? Daniel Thorne, Mean Girls, it's October. What's your favorite Mean Girls moment? Happy Mean Girls Day. Oh, Octurd? It's Octurd. I don't remember that from the film. Yeah, Mean Girls was hilarious. It's actually the first movie stub I have from when I started to collect is from Mean Girls back in 2003. I don't remember where I put my ticket stubs, but that's the earliest ticket stub that I have from when I started to actually collect them. I probably had others that were somewhere around my parents' house back in the day, but Lord knows where those are, and they've probably been thrown away since then. But favorite moment from Mean Girls? Absolutely, it's the moment, she doesn't even go here. I love that. I love that moment. It's a line that I know I've used on occasion. You don't even go here. Lone Tiger, thank you for another $1 donation. Says, I agree about theaters being helped, but small business and citizens have not been helped much. The budget allocated for them was ridiculously low. Other nations have helped their people so much more. $1,200 is nothing for unemployed. By the way, I'm not political. No, Lone Tiger, that's not a political matter at all, man. I totally get it. And I definitely agree to an extent. I think there's some people where that was not enough. I think for some people that was more than enough, right? I think that is something. The problem, though, is other countries are not, one, the size of our country, and two, not the same political structure either, right? You know, people seem to forget this, that we are a democratic republic, or more accurately, we are a constitutional republic, right? We have representative government. We are made up of states. We are a collection of states. We have a centralized body, a centralized authority to keep things together and to do things like trades and enter into agreements and deals and all that kind of stuff. Obviously, national security as well. But the states are really meant to be independent, are meant to be able to be the laboratories of innovation, is the expression that's oftentimes used. And so that's why, as I said before, I think that if an individual state is making the decision, I think it should be the state's responsibility to make up for it. And that is going to be much easier to handle than if we're asking the feds to take care of it, because the feds can't do anything right. The state can barely do anything right, but the feds definitely can't, especially on that kind of a larger scale. So hopefully that makes a little bit more sense. Let me catch up with DLive, though. Mr. PI says, all the mods have everything set up, plenty of lightning rods, safety net, and we all have catcher's mitts. We are ready for Thor. Very, very cool. Very, very cool. Cam Adams says, I love turkey and Swiss sandwiches. Will Gentry, you mean I missed a chance to swing the banhammer? Well, dang it. Yeah, you did. I beat you to it, man. You were too slow. All right, back over to my YouTube fam. It's 7-11 in the chat. Make a wish. 7:34 in real life. So over 20 minutes behind. Water is good. All right, JKD Buck76 at 7-11 says, my advice is to sleep whenever the baby sleeps and start reading to him every day, beginning the first day you bring him home. Yeah, we have the books. We've gotten all the advice. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Yeah, reading is going to be a big thing. And yeah, sleep, very important. That's why I'm taking about 2 weeks off from work, because obviously sleep is going to be a big thing. Dean Approved, tagged at 711, says, 2020 sucks. It's understandable that you're angry. Happy that you'll have a baby soon. Be careful not to get static shock from his fingers. I see what you did there. Brian Barth says, what do you think of Martin Scorsese now in his 70s? Do you think he has another movie left in him? Sure. Absolutely. Scorsese's great. I think that if he is up for it, yeah. If he's up for it, he's healthy, and he's in the right state of mind, I don't see why not. I mean, The Irishman was a great film. It wasn't perfect, but as far as his directing skills on the film were fantastic. Really, the big issues with it were more so story and effects, which obviously he made decisions on, but ultimately, as far as his direction of the actors and of the scenes and working with the cinematographer, I think he did a great job with it. Thanatos Felicitas, get a wet, dry vac. You will need it. Luckily, we already have one. Hybrid XR13, tagged at 713. I think out of anything from 2020, you and Freya's son's arrival is the only thing I found positive about this year. Well, I'm glad to bring some joy to it. Very, very glad. Lone Tiger already got it, man. Hey, dude, always just have a little patience. Super says, speaking of Baby Thor, can't resist asking about the mushy cute stuff. What theme did you pick for your nursery? My wife basically was in charge of all that stuff. Lots of under the sea type vibes. She loves aquatic life. Sharks are her favorite animal. Zine Waters, it's going bad. Got accused of something I didn't do at one of my jobs, and while I got backed up by HR, it still had an effect at my work. That sucks. I hate that. I'm sorry that happened to you, man. Let's see. Tina B says, as a Star Trek fan, the motion picture Star Trek 1 sucks. I saw it opening weekend. Wrath of Khan, I've told you before, it is the greatest of all of all Star Trek movies. I'll get hate from that in the chat. JJ's Abomination is awful. Yeah, and that was the thing, is that as I was watching Wrath of Khan, I was like, oh, I can see the elements that were very much borrowed by JJ Abrams. But it also reminded me about there are good things in the JJ Abrams versions, specifically Carl Urban as Bones. I think both actors that played Bones have both been fantastic. So I think that's one thing to point out. And then, of course, I think that both actors that play Chekhov also are fantastic. So there's some positives in there, right? JJ obviously is a stealing cuck, but at the end of the day, he at least had some good actors in his movie. Can't hold a candle though to the one thing I was amazed by was truly the amazing acting chemistry between Leonard Nimoy and James Kirk. Yes, and that's how I'm gonna word it. Because Will Shatner and Leonard Nimoy, I just think that they had such great chemistry together, and Chris Pine and Zachary Quinto just did not have it. I think Zachary Quinto is a very talented actor. I remember him from the days when he was on Heroes as Silas. I mean, I think he did a great job in the role as a villain. I just never really bought him in the Spock character, especially now that I know what Spock is supposed to be like, for sure. 70B, thank you very much for letting them know how to contact me. Let's see. The Packin', thank you for the tag at 714. Belated happy birthday, Odin, and blessings to the little Odinson. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Thank you. Super says, also, word of advice. When the hospital gives you formula and diapers, say thank you. It never goes as planned. Okay, back to the movies. Yeah. Well, we're planning to do some of that stuff in a more, not like a weird naturalistic way, but just, the way that nature intended, instead of formula, for instance. And then, we luckily we've been told, diapers will be provided, and such. So we trust me, we have our bag ready, right? For the most part, we have, I think, the important things in there. My stuff though, I'm like, nah, I can be in the same clothes for a day or two. I usually don't get hot and bothered about that. As long as I have a ability to shower, I'm okay. Let's see. 70B says, today is Denis Villeneuve's birthday. Well, happy birthday, Denis Villeneuve. I pray and hope that Dune is not delayed. As of last check, Dune is still scheduled somehow. I don't think it will last much longer. But Dune is still scheduled to be coming out at the end of 2020, around the same time that Wonder Woman 1984 is scheduled to come out. And that's why I don't believe it. because it just makes very little sense to me that they would release Wonder Woman and Dune around the same time. One of those films is going to move. In fact, I would not be surprised if both of those films move. If Wonder Woman gets pushed back to 2021 as well, the way things are going. Hybrid X13 says, hey, I saw an ad recently for Swamp Thing, the show that you said was canceled. Does that mean it's coming back, or was it probably just a random streaming ad? No. So Hybrid X13, it was originally streamed on the DC service. It was canceled after its first season, before its first season even ended. It's a great show. What you're seeing is the CW ads because it's now premiering on the CW. So yeah, it's not a new season. It's the first season because it's the only season. It's just now premiering on the CW. Similar to how everyone has now been watching Cobra Kai and everyone's been like, oh, it's such a great new show. And here I am like, I saw it months ago. I was like, it's been out for a long time on YouTube Red. It just finally is now on a much larger service that more people have. But it's the same thing essentially. Let us see. Brian Barr says, what do you think of Jamie Foxx returning as Electro for Spider-Man? I think it's stupid. I think it's terrible. Jamie Foxx was my least favorite part of Spider-Man, Amazing Spider-Man 2. I hate his character. Jamie Foxx is an actor that for the most part I don't like. I don't find him endearing. I don't find him entertaining for the most part. The only film I can remember where I actually liked his character was in Baby Driver because he fit the role very well. Otherwise, he annoys me. Nathan Slay says, may I ask why Live, Die, Repeat will get a sequel despite not doing well in the theater? It's basically the same thing. Here's the difference, though. Live, Die, Repeat came out in a time when quarantine wasn't a thing and didn't have someone behind it with the rights that was off going in Avatar land. So it actually is almost the exact same as Alita. Big difference, of course, being that it did just as well. So Live, Die, Repeat, or Edge of Tomorrow, did about as well as Alita. They both lost around $30 million or so. Live, Die, Repeat, Edge of Tomorrow, though, did incredibly well on home video because once people discovered it and realized the marketing sucked, but the film was great, it just went crazy. You know, it sold like gangbusters. And so because of that, there was this huge demand for a sequel, and the money was there to show that. And so eventually it led to the studio saying, hey, all right, cool. Let's go ahead and greenlight a sequel. Now, again, that could happen with Alita 2 because it also lost around $30 million. It did also do very well on home video release. I don't know if it did as well. I haven't looked at those numbers because it stops tracking it after a while. But what I can say is that the big difference, the big problem holding Alita back is James Cameron. Because, as I said, he is off in Avatar land for the next decade. Rob D, Disney is definitely not going to be taking any risks with film releases, especially now and the foreseeable future. Yeah, after their total botch of Mulan, yeah, absolutely. Abso-freaking-lutely. Dean approved. Do you predict theater owners to protest? They could. In all honesty, though, I hope that if the theater owners protest, they go to the people actually responsible for them not being allowed to grow. I hope that they first go after the studios. Because if the studios were releasing movies right now, guess what? Theaters would still be hurting. Theaters would still have had loss of revenue, but at least they'd be moving in the right direction. Right now, they can't because the studios are not allowing them to. And so at this point, the only recourse they have is to either close, sell, or ask for help. It's really all they can do. Let's see, Daryl H. What are the odds AMC, Regal, and or Cinemark will file for bankruptcy before 2020 ends if movies keep getting delayed into 2021? AMC, I think, is, out of all of them, most likely, because AMC was in financial trouble in 2019. It was already off to a shaky start because all theaters have been struggling now for a long time. One having to now compete with online services like Netflix and Prime Video and HBO Max now, of course, and just the fact that people would rather stay at home than go to a theater. So they were already dealing with that. But AMC obviously was dealing with a lot more financial issues, which is one of the reasons why they ended up, going into business and selling certain stock away to companies in China, for instance, right? Because otherwise they would not have really been able to sustain themselves that much. Regal and Cinemark, I don't know their financials as well. I want to say that they're overall in a better financial position. But if any of them was going to file for bankruptcy, it would be AMC. And I would say there's about a 70% chance, if I had to guess, a 70% chance that they file for bankruptcy before the end of the year. Let's see. According to Christy Snort. Interesting. Is that Mark Lizeth I see there? Don't be mean to Christy. How dare you be mean to Christy like that? Changing your name. Daryl H. Will Warner Brothers ever change its mind on releasing Wonder Woman 84 in movie theaters Christmas Day and send the movie to HBO Max for a special unlockable price? I doubt it. I really do doubt it. I think that they are going to look at, and I think it's a mistake, they're going to be looking at Disney's release of Mulan. And they're going to assume that that is the proof they need to say putting it out on streaming would not work. The reason why Mulan failed was several-fold, right? One, they were charging $30 a pop behind a paywall. Way too high behind a paywall. And just in general, I've always had issues with those kinds of prices anyway for VOD or PVOD. But $30 behind a paywall, that was one of its issues. Also, another major issue was the fact that they did not put their eggs in the right basket because they decided to put everything into China's basket and China did not respond to them. And of course, third, because people didn't really want to see it anyway, because no one wants these live action remakes. The reason why they make money is because, hey, people used to go every weekend to the theater. It used to be just the thing that you would do casually. That's gone now. And that's why I said before, that's why theaters are really in trouble, because we've gotten rid of that casual experience. Even though many theaters are reopening, that casual experience is essentially gone. And I don't know if they're ever going to be able to capture it back, especially when you have these studios dragging their feet and refusing to release brand new films. Because if the people don't get back into the swing of things, guess what? Guess what habits are being formed right now? The habit of, oh, I'll wait for it to come out on Netflix. Oh, Disney Plus. I'll just wait for that to come out on Disney Plus for free in December. That's another issue as to why the film made no money. I honestly think if Warner Brothers put it on HBO Max, obviously behind a paywall, but maybe charge $10, $15 a pop for it, I think they could make buku money. Because not only would their subscriptions go up, which is a huge deal for them, but it also, you'll get a huge influx of, guess what? Revenue they keep 100% of because it's on their own service. That's just what I think. Now, the problem is that no one's tried it yet. And if no one's tried it yet, it means that there's no evidence to suggest that it would work. But Mulan is not the great example to show why something didn't work, because a lot of things were wrong with that. But do I think they're going to release it on HBO Max? Do I think they will? No, I don't. Even though I think they could make a killing if they did it right. The problem, though, is they're not going to do it right. And actually, to be honest, I think Wonder Woman's not getting released Christmas. I think that they'll push that film back once again. And it'll be 2021. Brian Barth, what are some greatest unmade film projects that you've heard of? Well, if it's an unmade film project, I haven't heard of it. So, because it hasn't been made. I don't really dive into that news too much. Daryl H. Will Sony cancel the January 2021 Peter Rabbit 2 movie theater release and send it direct to DVD Blu-ray in time for Christmas 2020? Daryl H., to be honest, that'd be smart. That would be really smart for them to do. Because kids' movies like that tend to do pretty well on Blu-ray. However, if I was them, to be honest, I would push that to Easter. If you want to make some money, whether it's in theaters or on demand, put that bad boy out during Easter. When you have rabbits involved, especially, that's about as Easter as you can get in modern secular culture, of course. Eric O'Sullivan, how's it going? Daryl H., what are the odds of New York State and New York City movie theaters reopening in December or November if they get the green light to reopen? Very unlikely at this rate. It could happen, but very unlikely. I would say once the election's over, you'll start to see some movement. I really honestly believe this. When you have the doctor that's at the head of the task force, Dr. Fauci, whether you love him or hate him, when you have him coming out saying, oh, you can go vote in person as long as you're social distancing when wearing a mask, then there is literally no excuse for any business to not be allowed to reopen. as long as safety protocols are there, there is very little reason to think that you will somehow get a random spread happen. Not to mention, we have the results in, and guess what? It's not that deadly. So basically, the only thing that makes sense at this point as to why things are not reopening in certain locations is politics. Sadly. I wish it wasn't true, but... Higher next 13. Did you say rent? Mr. Dikovic would like a word. Give me rent. Yes. And no, I'm not going to. According to Christy Snort. Speaking of Ben Shapiro, are you happy he's moving closer to you? I am actually. I'm glad for a giant company that he has. Not like Walmart level, but still pretty big company, right? With many employees and revenue. Glad that revenue is coming to my state. That's good for me. If we're making more revenue as a state, guess what? That's a good thing. So yeah, I'm more than happy about that, and hope he comes to visit. That'd be cool. Forever Sci-Fi, who's a member at 728, says, not saying that. I'm saying Americans are suffering because the government has been shutting them down. I have issues with bailing out companies that made their own bad choice. Oh, yeah, okay. Okay, sir. Okay, Forever Sci-Fi. Yeah, it may have just been the words there. But yeah, I'm right there with you. Yeah, I am totally against any bailout of a company when it's the company's fault that something happened. For sure. I am, however, supportive of governments giving money, bailing out, whatever it is you want to call it, to either individual American citizens or individual American companies that were hurt because of said decisions made by that government. Specifically, hey, oh, that's a nice business you have here, closed. I don't see how we can't, but as I said, I think maybe we need to pass a law to say, oh, if you're the president, governor, mayor, whoever, that decides to close a business down, you have to take personal responsibility for getting their money back. Maybe out of your own checkbook. Wouldn't that be nice? Then, of course, we have to have an entirely different discussion about changing our tax system because it's totally crapshoot, but that's a whole other day. Hybrid X 13 at 729. India has started to approach their own independence on making their own products, now not wanting to rely on China. I think that's very good. Hybrid, I agree. I hope and pray that we can do the same thing here. I really do. Because we have the people that want to work. We have people with skills. And I think that if we were to essentially remove all the crap red tape regulations that hold a lot of businesses back from doing that kind of thing, guess what? We could move there much quicker. Eric O'Sullivan, any Mulan Schadenfreude. P.S. Happy belated birthday cake. Thank you very much for that. And as I said, I'm happy to see a bad movie do poorly. Simple as that. Alrighty, so chat has jumped on me once again. Remember that if you have a comment or question that you want me to read and read aloud, you need to tag Odin Question, all one word, right here as you see it. Scroll beneath me. See that? Odin Question, all one word, just like that. It'll highlight orange on my screen, and that will let me know you're trying to get my attention. If you don't want to do that, well, then your options are to donate by a super chat or by Streamlabs. Because then I will get it instantaneously, and it'll then be read much more quickly. But if you do leave a comment in the chat, only leave it once. Do not spam it. It just means that likely your comment will take 20 minutes to be read, because that's normally how far behind I am. And sometimes those comments can get skipped. But then again, that is the risk that you take when you put a chat. Because guess what? We got 90 people still watching. Smash that like button. I haven't said that tonight. Smash the like button, please. And thank you once again for joining us this evening. I really do appreciate it. But, yeah, thank you. All right, let me catch up with my D-Laugh fam. Cam Adam, already got you. Already got you, yes. Now more visitors. So, Koopy, thank you for the diamond donation, says, can you play Among Us with me? I don't know who you are. So unless you're a subscriber that I don't quite know who, unless you're a subscriber that I'm not aware of, then I'll have to take a pass on that. But thank you for the diamond. Well, Gentry, have you seen the trailer for Iron Mask? It was due to come out ages ago, but has a November 20th release date. It looks like cheesy fun. Yeah, I believe that's the one with Jackie Chan. Yeah, I might go see it. But then again, baby, who knows? Will Gentry, it's got Arnold and Jackie Chan. Yeah, I knew that much. And it looks very silly, but potentially a lot of fun with it. Captain Adam says, I would love to have $30 million to loose on Legos. Dear Lord. Phonemo, I'm still hoping for Big Shark to come in and save the movie theater. It is 2020, so there is a chance. Big Shark? Oh. At first I was like, what are you talking about? Oh, yes. Tommy Wiseau's film, Big Shark. Yes. So Tommy Wiseau's film of a shark terrorizing the streets of New Orleans. Yes. Yes. That is the only film that can save the theaters. I totally forgot that film existed. I think that even Tommy forgot that film existed. Mr. Roy, thank you very much for the diamond donation. And also for the ice cream donation. Thank you for the ice cream donation. And then Captain Mr. Roy, thank you for the 5 ice cream donation. Captain Adam McClan says, I am using the DC app free for 7 days. So far it is okay, but I don't know if I'll keep it after the free offer. Watching Batman cartoon movies, nice. Very, very cool. Very, very cool, my friend. Phonemo, HBO needs to get HBO Max on Amazon TVs before they think about putting Wonder Woman on HBO Max and making money. Phonemo, that's a good shot. Absolutely. They need to get that crap together. Roku and Amazon devices need to get HBO Max. Actually, they just released a new Google product. So there is a new Google Chromecast that now has a remote and has actual, now it's called Google TV, old, what was it called? Android TV. And it's pretty nice. It's pretty nice. And luckily that does have HBO Max and all the other places. Captain J. Rod, the Beer Guru, what are your thoughts on the new Monster Hunter trailer? I have not seen it. I've fallen behind on so many things. Captain J. Rod, the Beer Guru, thank you very much for the Ninja Genie dropping the bomb over on D-Live. That Ninja Genie looking fine. Says, this is for Baby Thor's Nappy Fund. Yes, because Baby Thor, one day, you might watch this back. Know that naps are a good thing. And I hope that you take them often. That is healthy, of course. But thank you so very much, J-Rod, the Beer Guru, for the Ninja Genie. Ooh, it's driving away so very fast. So very, very, very sneaky, my friend. Well, thank you very much. I always appreciate it. J-Rod, the Beer Guru. Thank you. Love you, man. All right, back over to YouTube. Nathan Slay, what is the first movie you'll show your little boy? I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. Because it's going to really be... Really, the wife, I think, is going to have a huge impact on that because she'll have more of an opinion on when he should watch TV/movies/ television shows, etc. I do know that one of the things I plan for him to watch are things like, actually just bought on DVD, The Busy World of Richard Scarry. I remember watching that cartoon so much when I was a kid, and the entire series was on DVD for like $10. And it's like, boom, got it. So those have some great episodes. I think a lot of things that younger kids would like, especially. For movies, I don't know. That's one that I'll have to think about. That's for sure. Charles Schmidt at 738 says, did you know Regal Cinemas and Cinemark Theaters will be showing Alita Battle Angels in theaters starting October 30th? Robert Rodriguez, thank the Alita Army. Please do a video on this. Yeah, I've talked about it on Twitter. I retweeted about it. I talked about it earlier in the video as well. And I don't plan to make a video on it because, one, I really haven't been making a lot of videos lately. I just haven't had the time. Like, there's been so many other things going on with my son on the way and work and having to basically get prep work done in advance for the 2 weeks that I'm going to be out. So it's been kind of crazy. But also, as I mentioned before, again, that's awesome. I'm very happy because obviously I love Alita and I want it to make as much money as it possibly can. Here's the thing, though. No matter what amount of money it makes in its re-release, it's not going to be enough because at the end of the day, the biggest problem is James Cameron. If you can somehow reach James Cameron, if we could get a group of people, behind the Alita Army hashtag, behind the Alita sequel hashtag, anyone that's a fan of Alita, if we can get James Cameron to leave freaking Pandora, to leave that crap universe that he's trying to build and that crap empire he's trying to build behind, then there's a good chance we could get a sequel. But until then, I just I don't think it's in the cards. Tina B, agreed on Shatner Nimoy. Did you ever see Space Seed First, the original episode that featured Montalban as Khan? I did not. And I don't think I missed out on too much because the movie kind of explained most of it. Zine Water says Benedict Cumberbatch is horrible as Khan considering how the character is supposed to be. Ricardo Montalban does a better job vacillating between calm and volatile. Well, here's the thing is that Benedict Cumberbatch's version was a different version, though. So it's hard for me to say that he was terrible as Khan. If we are comparing that Khan to the original Khan, then yeah, that's not the character that was established at all. But if we're comparing it to a brand new iteration of the character, I think as acting performances go, Cumberbatch did a great job because he's a fine actor. But again, is it nearly as nuanced as the one from the film? No, I don't. Performance, I would definitely prefer Ricardo Montalban's because I think his is a lot more of a complex character. But I think Benedict still did a good job because I do think he's a talented actor. Baxter, what's going on? She says, me being a huge Star Trek fan, I thought 6 was the best. Ooh, interesting. Hybrid 13, Dune Villeneuve. See what I did there? I did. I did see what you did. Forever Sci-Fi, as long as 2020 isn't pushed back to 2021, we'll be okay. Oh, it might as well. Lord knows it's just going to keep on going in 2021. Let's see. Super, regarding those countries approving a greater stimulus, I wonder if they were able to do it through reallocation of funds, like, for example, some countries offer free childcare. Could have been. Yeah. And that's the other thing, too, is that the United States is not other countries. And so we really can't compare ourselves to other countries. Just because it works in a smaller country that doesn't have the same problems and same issues and also the same demographic differences too. Like people always love to say, oh, let's talk about Sweden. Oh, Sweden. You mean where there's like no immigrants? Where there's no diversity at all? Okay, yeah. Let's talk about some ethno-states. Let's compare ourselves to ethno-states. Or not. Oh, man, oh, man. Lordy. Dean approved. Do you think Dune will be good? I think I've heard conflicting news around it. I think it will. As I've mentioned previously, Denis Villeneuve, who's the director behind it, has made so many great films. Not a single one of his films have I not liked. I've loved most of them. I've liked a couple of them. But I trust him. Until he makes a bad movie. I said the same. Now, for the record, I said the same thing about the Russo brothers. I said, I thought Endgame was going to be great. And I said, until they let me down, I will continue to think that they'll do great things. And sure enough, Endgame was the end of their run because, Endgame sucked. Nathan Slay, are you currently friends with Chris Stuckman at all, or are you just a fan? Because I want a video of you, the Flick Pick, and Stuckman in a video. That'd be awesome. That'd be really cool. Stuckman is someone that I looked up to a lot when I was, growing up. And makes him sound so old. I mean, I think we're about the same age. But I mean, I watched Stuckman for years. I still watch a lot of his stuff. Obviously, Flick Pick John. I've been watching his stuff for years too. And it was awesome that we were able to be within an hour of each other, really. And we were able to connect and start doing the podcast together and to do some videos together as well. It was so much fun. I'm so sad when he had to go back to Ohio. And I miss him. I miss him terribly. But yeah, I have not talked to Stuckman at all. And the big reason why is because it's impossible to really get in touch with him because he has a Twitter account, but he's not really known for responding much. You can't DM him there either. And then he has a Patreon, and I think he even still has members. But the problem, though, is that he has promises. He has things that he guarantees to Patreon subscribers. And guess what? He's not doing any of them. One of those tiers, at least last time I checked, was still that he does a bi-weekly podcast with John the Flick Pick. And guess what? That has not happened in a very long time. So, yeah. Stuckman's a busy man. Busy. But it'd be awesome. Rob D. Dune and Wonder Woman 84 movie to 2021. Theaters might as well do their year-end accounting now. Yeah, seriously. Charles Schmidt. I already got that. Hologram Nunchuck. Hail to you. Bruce says, Edward Tomorrow, not this live, die, repeat stuff. It's the same movie, Bruce. I actually like both for different reasons. Live, die, repeat just sounds badass. Sasha Neons. What will be Baby Thor's first family movie? Oh, I don't know. because again, it depends on when it is said to be the best or safe, because you know how there's different things out there, for him to be able to actually watch because that's the other thing too, right? Is that just because he's sitting in the room when a movie's playing does not make that really his first movie. To me, a first movie only counts if they know what's going on, they can understand and see the characters, and they can actually react to what's going on. And that's something where we won't know until it happens. Dean approved. Which do you like better, Oblivion or Edge of Tomorrow? Personally, Oblivion. And there's two reasons why. One, the score to Oblivion is a masterpiece. The score to Oblivion is some of my favorite music in cinema. And it's seriously, like the theme song Oblivion, look it up. There is so many great renditions of the main theme called Oblivion. But there's an amazing version. It's done a cappella. It's a college a cappella group. And to say I was blown away when I heard their rendition is an understatement. The fact that the human voice and that multiple human voices could somehow replicate the incredible score of that film was phenomenal. So yeah, Oblivion, because as I said, number one, the score, and two, the visual effects. The visual effects of Oblivion, I just honestly think are incredibly underrated. That movie in general is incredibly underrated. Now, it's not a perfect movie. By no means is it a perfect movie. But it's a movie that no one talks about, that no one meant. And then when you look to the director behind it and the work that he's done since then, talented guy with visuals too. Saja Neons, anyone ever hear of the anime yo-yo hockey show? No, I have not. Orange Hat Reviews, thank you very much for the $5 super chat. I very much appreciate that. Thank you. He says, there is a YouTuber, Methlakaiju-fan97, made a video of the new Dune trailer, but with the 80s sandworm design. I thought it was pretty cool to see. Nice. Very cool. I actually love the new version because the CGI is incredible for the Dune trailer. If there's one thing that I was blown away in that trailer, it's the CGI. And it's funny because everyone always complains that I'm a CGI stickler, which I am. Guess what? Because I'm a stickler for bad CGI. You know what didn't have bad CGI? The Dune trailer. You know what did have bad CGI? Wonder Woman 1984. Just saying. But thank you, Orange Hat Reviews. I very much appreciate it. Jacob Juice, what's going on, my friend from Holland? Jacob Juice, how's it going, bro? Says, dear Odin, how are you doing? How are you and your wife doing today? Here, everything is going well. Be safe, sir. Kind regards, Jacob Juice. Jacob Juice, you're always so kind and considerate. Thank you so much, man. I am doing great. I am doing fine. Obviously, there's just so much stuff going on. We have our school has a quarter system, so we just finished our first quarter. So I got papers to grade. I've got to record 5 lectures for the 2 weeks that I'll be out, because each class is going to meet for 5 cycles essentially. So like basically every class will have a new class 5 times. So I have to record 5 lectures, and those will be between, probably around 45 to 60 minutes. So it's going to take a while because I got to prep for them and then I got to actually record them. Luckily, recording shouldn't be too bad because, hey, I record for an hour and a half, 2 times a week. But yeah, wife's doing great too. Obviously, we're very excited. This is baby week. So by the end of this week, by Friday, Saturday, latest Sunday, our son will be born, and we are very excited. But thank you very much, Jacob Juice. Always great to see you in the chat, and always appreciative of your comments. And I hope you got my message on Patreon. Darth Morrow, what's going on, good sir? Glad to see you in the chat. Thanatos Felicitas, one rabbit movie that is not for kids is Watership Down. It contains horrific violence. It was also based on a great book. Yeah, I've actually never seen Watership Down. Golden Ration. In Canada, there are ways for businesses to get help from government due to the bug. Yeah, I mean, every country is doing it differently, but that's also because every country is different. So there's certain things that some countries can do that other countries can't do. But for some reason, people can't understand that. I don't know why. I do not get it, my friend. I do not get it. All right, let me head back. Let me head back over to D Live. Let's see. I got 20 minutes or so left. Thank you again for joining us this Saturday night. Got 20 more minutes left in me or so. We got 88 people still in the chat. Thank you very much on YouTube for watching. Smash that like button if you don't mind. It is for free, and it does help out. Share the video as well if you think anyone else would want to join in for the last 20 minutes. Captain J-Rod, the Beer Guru says nappies are British for diapers. Ah, J-Rod, thank you. Oh, thank you. That makes much more sense. Much more sense. So J-Rod gave a Ninja Guinea for Baby Thor's Nappy Fund, which is Diaper Fund. Well, thank you. Yeah, we're using a combination of reusables, cloth diapers, and disposable. The mindset being, when baby is here in the house, reusable, makes sense. And then whenever we have to go out, disposable. Again, sensible. Phonemo says, Cameron will do Alita 2 when Avatar 2 crashes and burns. That's actually, Phonemo, that is a fair point. That is a fair point. However, the problem, though, is that since he's filming them all around the same time, he's still going to work on them. And honestly, I think that James Cameron is hard-headed enough where he's not leaving Pandora. I think he's obsessed. Will Gentry, getting James Cameron to leave Pandora means facing Anna's wrath, though. So I don't know if it's a risk I'd want to take. I'd be willing to take it because you all know I'm not afraid of Anna because she's wrong. Avatar sucked. Shape of Water sucked. And there's nothing that she can do about that. Will Gentry says, I think Star Trek 6 is objectively the best of the original films, but it's not the most Star Trek episodes I like, if you follow me. Okay, yeah, I think I get you. I tend to not agree with that overall sentiment. It's kind of that argument of, yeah, but this guy, for example, Jeremy was getting into an argument with a lot of us about Andrew Garfield and how he didn't like Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man. And some people will say, right, Tobey Maguire, well, he wasn't really Spider-Man, you know what I mean? Or, Andrew Garfield, he wasn't really Spider-Man, you know what I mean? He's a good actor, but he's not really Spider-Man. Or Tom Holland, right? Oh, yeah, he's a good actor, right? And he does the part that they're going for well, but he's not really Peter Parker. I've always just hated that mindset. I really do. I mean, it's hard for me to really say one way or the other because I don't know the comics, which is the source material, but still, that's why there are different renditions. That's why there are different versions of characters and stories. And so I go based on what is in front of us. So I've personally just never been drawn to that kind of thinking myself. And for objectively speaking, I don't really know how much more could be done to be better than Star Trek II, Wrath of Khan. I think Wrath of Khan was objectively fantastic. But I might get to that point where I'll be able to put that to the test. Will Gentry then says, I think it's the best all-around film of the 6, but it's not the most Star Trek of the 6. Again, I hate that thinking. I love you, Will Gentry, but I hate that kind of thinking. Will Gentry says, OMG, you have to watch Watership Down. It was a seminal part of my childhood. It made me so sad when, I won't spoil it. Well, I don't want to get sad. Now's not the time for sad movies. Will Gentry, Anna is 100% wrong, but she's still very scary. Well, as long as she's living on the West Coast, I have no reason to be afraid. Will Gentry says, I am the same. One thing that annoys me about the comic book fans is how they're always saying, that's not Spider-Man. It's frustrating. It is. And, it's hard, right? For me, at least, because I'm not a comic person. So I can't speak to whether or not it matches up perfectly with the original vision of the writer, right? But here's the thing, though. When you look to comic fans, guess what? Even they can't always agree on what is authentically one character or not, right? I mean, that's kind of the nature of comics and movies in general, right? We debate each other. We fight over these things. We have disagreements. And so that's why I just think that it's a poor way of defending it, right? Saying, oh, well, that's not really Spider-Man. It's like, but you have to explain why that is the case. to someone that is not a comic. Because here's the thing. I think, and this is just me, if you can't explain your position to someone that is a non-comic person, I don't think you have a good position. I don't think you have a good argument. Because if the only argument you can go back to is, well, that's just not Spider-Man, and you know the person that you're talking to doesn't have the foreknowledge of it, it becomes essentially this, I guess, straw man, or it just becomes this rhetoric. It just becomes weak in a lot of ways. I don't know. I'm missing the word for it. Let's see. And then Will Gentry says, it's a happy sad. Sad is happy for deep people. Yeah, I guess it depends. All right, heading over to YouTube now at 7:52 in the chat. It's 8:15 where I am, slowly catching up. It's still over 20 minutes behind. 13th Warrior says, it's just like the Dems wanting to add money for insolvent states like New York and California, who are badly mismanaged in the bailout legislation. Yeah, seriously. And I would not support that legislation. I would not. I would not support giving extra money to states that are being poorly run. Unless I can add in an amendment saying, okay, if California, hey, governor, if you accept this money because we know that you're a terrible governor, you then have to agree to add yourself on to a special election. And guess what? It takes place in just a few weeks. I'd add that amendment. I'd say, you can have this money. Okay, you can have this extra millions and millions of dollars, even though we know you're going to poorly management. Only though, if you admit, and only if you say you'll go up for a recall election or a primary election or whatever. Then we'll see if he takes that money. I don't know. At least let him have some stakes in it. Orange at Review says, every time I hear the word orange, my ears perk up. I can't imagine why. Super says, very nice and best of luck, Mrs. Frey. It's difficult. I know. It is. Soul Assassin, have you seen that Witches remake trailer? It looks so bad. Anne Hathaway is no Angelica Houston. I've not. I refuse to because I don't want to watch it. I'm tired of the remakes. I'm tired of it. Forever Sci-Fi, big shark or high fish? Exactly. Yes. Aiden Vickery, what's going on, good sir? Long time. Thank you for being a member. Says, sorry if this has already been covered. Reports are that Cineworld, the largest chain in the UK, will close all its cinemas maybe within a week, citing it was caused by the delay to the Bond film. Now, do you mean they're going to close down completely forever, or that they're shutting down for the meantime because no movies are coming out? If that's the case in point, as what I was saying before, how can we hold them responsible? I don't know. That's why we should hold the studios responsible. Stephanie B, when baby Thor goes to school, what house will he get? Hufflepuff? Fun for you to say that, because the high school I work at, we actually do have a house system. We actually have a house cup tournament. It's a lot of fun, actually. But knowing both my wife and I, there's a stronger chance of him being a Ravenclaw. Because we're both academics. Both my wife and I have master's degrees. And my wife is a big thinker. Big brain. My wife. Big brain. And then I always fall... I'm a Griffin... I'm more of a Griffin Claw puff. Because I've got a soft side. I got a Hufflepuff side. I got a Ravenclaw side. And of course I got my Gryffindor side. So, but most likely with my mixed bag and my wife's very clear Ravenclaw, more likely would be Ravenclaw. Kika Rogers, at least show Baby Thor the Sandlot. Oh yeah. Oh yes. Yes. Trust me, there's plenty of films that he'll watch eventually. But as far as like the first one goes, that's a little bit harder. That's a little bit harder to manage. But yeah, there are a plethora of movies that he will watch. Nathan Slay, would you agree that Toy Story 2 is underrated? I feel like it doesn't get the love it deserves. Here's the thing. I actually think it's overrated. There's some people that love it, that think it's fantastic. And I'm not saying it's not. It's good, right? It's a good film. In my opinion, it's the weakest, though. To me, it's Toy Story, and here, shocker, it's Toy Story 3, Toy Story 1, and then Toy Story 2. And yes, those are the only 3 Toy Story films. I do not count the 4th one because the 4th one sucked. and had a terrible message for kids. Dina Prude at 8 o'clock. Hear me out. Kick Cameron out. Get a new director for Alita. Well, here's the thing. He wasn't the director. Dina Prude. He was not the director. He was a producer. But remember, guess what? Films need a little thing called money. And Cameron has the rights. He owns the rights to make the movie. So the only way that you can kick him out would be if he sold the rights and he said, hey, I still want to be on board. It'd be like George Lucas, I'm selling Star Wars, but hey, I can help. Oh, yeah, sure, George, sure. Signs on the dotted line. All right, George, get out of here. Brian Barth tagged at 8 o'clock. Who is the best Bond? Connery, Lansbury, I don't think it's spelled right. Moore, Dalton, Brosnan, Craig. To me, there is no best because each one is a different version. As I was saying before, they're all different renditions of the character. So to me, it's not fair to compare a Roger Moore because his Bond was not the same as a Timothy Dalton or a Brosnan to a Connery, right? They're different versions. Now, which version do I personally like the most? That's, to me, the only way you can word it, is which one do you prefer the most? Because everyone has a preference. Does that mean it's the best, though? Objectively, I would argue not. But for me, the one that I prefer, the one that I enjoy the most, I actually like Dalton. I haven't seen all the James Bond films, for one, but everything that I've seen of what I have seen from Dalton, I just like. Although I just like Timothy Dalton as an actor. Now, that does not mean that he's better than anyone mentioned. It's just the version I prefer. Tina B says, A Space Seed is still worth a look. If you ever have 45 minutes to watch it, I'd rank it as one of the top 5 Star Trek episodes of the original series. Well, I can tell you this much, Tina, that Wrath of Khan has made me want to actually go through and watch the original series. So I think at some point I'll be able to. Slicer says, I nominate Baby's first Christmas movie as Klaus, second movie as Puffin' Rock, first Please Let Me Stay Up to Watch, and Star Wars, and this film made me cry, Daddy, to Homeward Bound. See, Klaus is a great movie. I don't know if it would be his first Christmas movie, though. And the reason why is because it's a little dark. I think it's a little too dark for a first movie. Again, first movie would be seen pretty young. So, yeah, I don't know if that'd be the first Christmas movie. Brian Barth says, do you someone from Hollywood have a secret plan to destroy it? What? No. I don't even know what that question's supposed to ask. I think it was supposed to say, do I think someone in Hollywood has a secret plan to destroy it? And I would say no. That's conspiracy, and I try and stay away from that. Zachary315, howdy. We are wrapping things up. We got about 7 minutes, so please start to slow down questions. Appreciate it. Thursday the Warrior says, I saw a video for a fake prescription drug for depression anxiety. It was called Nurgle Suckles, pronounced next year'll suck less. I hope so. Again, I hope so. I don't think there's a guarantee, sadly. Liam Neeson's Shin, hearing John Williams' Star Wars score back in 77 for the first time instantly made me a lover and collector of film scores. Are there any film scores you are fond of? I just heard one today from James Horner from Wrath of Khan. Great score. So I would say that one. I would say John Williams especially, great composer. My favorite score of his, this will shock some people. I've mentioned this before. It's a weird choice. Hook. I love the score to Hook. I'm not saying it's objectively the best. It's my favorite. Hyperin, that's surprising. I saw one small YouTube channel who had a discussion with Stuckman. I wonder how he got with chat with him. I wonder too. Again, maybe he uses a service like, again, I'm not much of an Instagrammer, but maybe it's something where he's on Instagram or he's on another social media site where he accesses more. I don't know. I'm not quite sure. Zine Waters 805, Space Seed is worth the watch if only to watch Multibond dominate every scene. Khan is a fascinating character to me. Well, again, since I saw Wrath of Khan, I saw that. I saw that indeed. Soul Assassin, most important question, will you show Baby Thor the sequel trilogy? Hell no. Hell no. I might not even show him the prequel trilogy, but OG, absolutely. Nathan Slay, if I woke up at the end of this year and it was January 1st, 2020, I would go into deep depression mode. Dear Lord, imagine if we had if we had a Groundhog Day situation with 2020. That terrible. Hybrid X13, plot twist, Bill Murray makes a cameo in Edge of Tomorrow 2. This time, him and Tom Cruise have to fight an army of groundhogs and live, die, repeat. Groundhog Day 2. Live, die, repeat. I'd love to see that crossover. I wouldn't mind. Is that Robert Boucher Jr., otherwise known as Baba Boucher? Golden Ration 808, maybe some VeggieTales to Baby Thor. Not sure the show is Catholic, though. My Protestant school showed this and helped me not fall asleep in class. Yeah, I've heard a lot of VeggieTales, and it could be something. Could be something. 13th Warrior, did you ever see the movie Shadowlands? It's about C.S. Lewis and his wife, Joey Gresham. Stars Anthony Hopkins and Deborah Winger. I love it. No, I've never heard of that. Did not know they made a movie about C.S. Lewis. I love me some C.S. Lewis, though. That's cool. All right, chat jumped on me like it always does, but we indeed are wrapping things up. So again, please slow down on the comments and the questions because it looks like I will probably have to start skipping some. And again, if your comment is skipped, I apologize, but about 4 or 5 minutes left. I don't like going over an hour and a half. Will Gentry says, I am the same. One thing that annoys me about comment. Oh, God, that one. D-Live. All right, Will Gentry says, just to be clear, I say Star Trek 6 wasn't very Star Trek just as an explanation point, but I still have a problem with that. Maybe it's not being worded the right way. Then it says, what matters most to me is how much I enjoy what I'm watching, not how accurate it is to what came before. Well, that's good to hear, Will Gentry. I'm trying to figure out because if I think you're saying it one way, but you might be saying it a different way. I just don't know what that other way is. Cam J. Rather Beer Guru. I am tired of all these remakes. Also, has Hollywood lost all original thought and ideas? It seems so. But every year there are indeed original movies that come out, and there's good movies that come out. Just not many. Captain J. Rod. How about My Neighbor Totoro as young Thor's first movie? Ooh, that's a good choice. Good choice. Captain Adam, we know that Thor's first movie is going to be Marvel's Thor. Captain Adam, I've seen all Bond films and enjoy them all. It is like going back in time when you see them. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. All right, I am caught up over there, so let us see. Hypern, fun to know there's a flick that stars Robert Pattinson and the main dude in Dune, Timothée Chalamet, the king. I guess that flick can be good prep for Dune and Batman. Yeah, I've heard of it. I've not actually seen it myself. Brian Barth, what do you think of the silent era films? There's some really good ones in there. I have not watched enough of them to have a good opinion. However, if you want to hear a great opinion on the silent era of film, there is a great video by my friend Greta Zenner. So happy once again that her channel just blew up because of Friday Night Tights, and I hope that she gets on those videos because she's awesome. And she has a video or two on the silent era. I recommend her. Rob D, if Baby Thor ever gets in trouble, is he going to have to watch a VHS tape on a CRT TV hooked up with AV cables? Yes. I love that. I love that so much. As punishment, you don't get to watch this movie on high-quality 4K Ultra HD with HDR content. You have to watch it on a VHS. And not just on VHS. You have to watch it with AV cables. Oh, Rob D. Rob D. That's the quote of the night right there, man. I love it. Oh, man. Rhetorical Thrill, what's going on? Harvey Weinstein, Hound 3000, what's up? What's up? Hybrid X15, you and Anna's debate will be more entertaining and respectful and badass than Biden versus Trump, hands down. Not gonna lie, part of me is gonna be very much tempted to just go Trump the entire time. Wrong, no. Oh, Lord. Let's see. Solanum Tinker says, okay then, put dwarves and Star Trek since that's Star Trek. I am saying that I think they are talking about the film itself, not the actors. I still don't quite get it. Father Christopher Miller, hail to you, Father. Yeah, you always get here right at the end of the stream. Father says, Odin would have loved Father's version of Father's movie review tonight. Being the Feast of the Angels yesterday, I decided to do a sermon on the angels. I lambast 1998 City of Angels from the pulpit. Here's the thing, though. I have a soft spot for City of Angels. And the reason why is because I love the song featured in the movie. I love Iris being featured in the movie. And I don't want the world to see me. That's all I think about when I think of City of Angels, so it makes me smile. It makes me smile. It's not a good movie, but still. That's awesome, though, Father. Yeah, indeed. And today is the traditional feast of St. Therese of Lisieux, St. Therese of the Little Flower. Because for those who don't know, I'm a traditional Catholic, so I go by the old calendar. And actually, Father, look what came in this week. My old school, it's the Roman breviary or the Breviarium Romanum. Shows me my Latin, but it's an English and Latin version, and it's wonderful. So yeah, we had the Feast of Guardian Angels yesterday. Today is the Feast of Saint Therese of the Child Jesus, or otherwise known as Saint Therese of Lisieux, and then tomorrow is Saint Francis. And this is actually Saint Francis of... is this Saint Francis of Assisi? Interesting. I think in the current calendar, it's Saint Francis Borgia. But hey, I'll take it. Yes. But so far, I've been loving it. It's a little confusing. A lot of page swapping and stuff. It's a lot, but I'm getting used to it, and it's great. I've actually been able to pray a lot. The last 3 or 4 days, I've been able to pray a huge portion of the hours. Matins is the only one where I've fallen behind because it's just, obviously, it's very, very long. But I'm hoping to be able to read some of it possibly this evening. All right, I got to rush through. So again, very sorry, everyone, for skipping any comments. So if you've made a lot of comments tonight, I'm going to skip yours just by default. But anyway, Solemn Tinker says, I understand what they're trying to say about Star Trek, The Undiscovered Country. It was watchable and the acting was okay, but something was a little off. Star Trek 2 for me all the way. Okay, those people have asked questions already. Aiden Vickery, not sure which close the rest was behind a paywall. Tomorrow the story will appear in the written press. What? Context, Aiden Vickery. Orange Eye Reviews, Ravenclaw all the way. Forever Sci-Fi, not going to tell him that he can choose his house. No. Shh, don't tell him. All right, so again, I'm sorry I'm skipping comments of people that have asked a lot of comments tonight. Super, I think Spider-Man, unless you're a member, of course. I think Spider-Man comic book related stuff is like the ultimate test of objectivity. Spider-Man Homecoming is excellent, but I'm not a fan of the Iron Man light interpretation. Yeah, I mean, as I said, I enjoy the film. And if someone says, it's not really this character, doesn't make it not a good movie. All right, you've asked a lot of questions. Sorry. Father Christopher Miller, first Christmas movie, Krampus. No, I'm not going to terrify my son with Krampus. I love Krampus, by the way. I think it's a great film, but no. Rob D, since you had the comment of the night, first Christmas movie for Baby Thor should be the Santa Claus is Coming to Town TV special. Ooh, yes, all the old school claymation. Yes, those would be great. Forever Sci-Fi, who's a member. Decades later, I still watch the Peanut special as well as Garfield Christmas special every year. You can't go wrong with those. Let's go. Ooh, yes. Ooh, Charlie Brown Christmas. Charlie Brown Christmas. That might be a contender. Hugo Rogers, when do you start the Baby Thor on VeggieTales? I don't know if I will or not. I know it's Christian. I don't know if it's Catholic. Bruce is a member. First Christmas movie, just make it Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. That's a classic. That'd be a good choice. Again, the claymations are pretty... I have all the claymations on Blu-ray. So those are all on my server. And so those would be good choices. Those would be very, very good choices. All right. These people have asked lots of questions tonight. So again, very sorry, but I do have to skip... because I am indeed running out of time. Father Christopher Miller, the bunny, whoa, I love the bunny. I don't love my mom or my dad, just the bunny. Thank you for being a member on the channel, Father. I appreciate it. Glottal Dover, man, it's been a long time. He says, I popped in just to see you. Sign off in 5 minutes. I'll catch you live again one of these days. Congrats on the baby. I don't know if you will, man. Tuesday. So this Tuesday will probably be one of the last streams I do. Tomorrow, by the way, I am doing my Chosen of Valhalla stream. Yes. It is early this month, so the Chosen of Valhalla stream for October will be tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. The event has already been created on this channel, so if you go ahead and look to the channel, you'll see the event there. You should at least see the event there. And join me in my Chosen of October. Should be a lot of fun. And, yeah. That and then Tuesday. Tuesday will probably be my last stream for a long time because baby's coming at the end of the week. And so, yeah, this actually, I will not be on Friday Night Tights this coming week either, because things will be happening. 70B, announce the stream of tomorrow. Boom, already did it. Read your mind. Solomon Tinker says, the thing that Star Trek 6 is they tried to make Sulu a captain as if they wanted a role forward with him in future. Just came off as forced. Again, since I haven't seen it, I couldn't really say it one way or the other. Pod Racing Palpatine, how's it going? Bruce is a member. The president has released a video. He seems to be doing just fine. Yeah, I mean, whenever I hear stuff from the media, I tend to not believe it because they're fake news. Let's just be honest. Let's see. Father says, nice, let me know how praying the office of readings in Latin go. I don't have enough vocab down to understand what I'd be praying. But Father, here's the thing, though. This is English and Latin. So you can read both. Now, I know, Father, that if you were to get this, that you would be obliged to read the Latin. For those that don't know that, the clergy, if they choose to read the traditional breviary, they have to pray the Latin. They're bound to pray the Latin. As a layperson, I can read the English instead. So I get what you're saying there, Father. And he then confirms, no, October 4th is St. Francis of Assisi. I don't know why I thought that it was Borgia. I saw that pop up at one point. I'll have to check my calendar. Tina B says, Aiden Vicker was talking about those closing British theaters, and I've already lost it. That's why context is so important, because it's gone. It's gone. Alrighty, let's see. All right, Tina B, got it, covered it. Slash Neon Star Wars Holiday Special. Hybrid X maybe one day. Baby Thor can do a play along watch stream of God and War. Boy, jump on that and press that. Orange Chat Reviews, be well, Odin. I hope everything goes well with birth. Have a good night. Thank you very much, Orange Chat. Thank you for being a member of the channel. Golden Ration, have a good one, man. I appreciate it. Super, thank you for being here, man. Appreciate it. Mike, what's going on, man? So Tina, like the Borgias as far as the name goes, but not the bad Borgia. This is the Saint Borgia. So not the same Borgia. Context is important for ever sci-fi. Just because you... So again, I got the reference to when he mentioned about the UK theaters, but I don't remember the comment that he made that was not in context at the time. So... Crazy. Also, Phonemo over on D-Live, first Christmas movie for Baby Thor should be Die Hard. Ooh, that would be a good one. Phonemo that says, you don't mean a horrible movie called Crow City of Angels, do you? No. It's just City of Angels with, what's his name? Nicolas Cage. The one with Nicolas Cage. I see someone mention Ponyo over there as well. All right, cool. I think I caught up with everyone that tagged me on D-Live. All right, definitely cannot leave my D-Live fam in the dust. All right, cool. I've caught up with everybody, so thank you very much for being here tonight. Thank you to all my members on the channel. Special shout out to Tina B, Empress of the Universe, and 70B, my general, the Valkyries. Always fantastic. And because, indeed, it's still something that I do on the channel, I need to shout out all of my members on the channel that are at the Army of Asgard and Keeper of the Bifrost level. So a huge shout out to Bruce, Andrew Hoyle, Eric K, Orange at Reviews, Adam Avery, Latino Slant, The Bosco 2000, Twirly Wolf, J-Stow, and Aiden Vickery. Thank you very much for being here, for being on the channel, for being awesome, amazing, and beautiful people. Wow. It's been fantastic. And I just need to double check something real quick because I have not updated my shout out video at the end because, as you all know, it's been kind of crazy. So let me just double check to make sure that no one new has joined on Patreon or on Subscribestar. So no one new on on Patreon. I know 2 people have left. But that's fine. I don't mind giving them a shout in a September video. But anyway, it is the September video still, but everyone in the September video, for the most part, is also still in October. The important thing is that no one new is not going to be not receiving a shout out. So anyway, thank you to everyone for being here. Thank you to everyone that donated. Thank you to everyone that smashed the like button. Thank you to everyone who's a member on the channel. And, of course, to the amazing Valks. You guys are awesome. Join me tomorrow, 2 p.m. Chosen of Valhalla October stream. Should be a freaking blast. You guys are all amazing and beautiful people. Have a wonderful day. And as always, God bless. And even though this is going to say September, it is for the October patrons. God bless. And now a huge shout out to all of my September Patreon and Subscribe Star members: Albertus Magnus, Animation Commentator, Brian P., David Bobrizik, Dion, Divex, Enrique Evangelista, Father Christopher Miller, hail to you, Father, Father Damian Cook, Frank the Tank and the Shawhan Wiener Dog Clan, Harold Francis, The Hunky Chunky Funky Monkey, Inflamed Wood, Trap Productions, Jason Clark, Jacob Juice, Jeffrey Toone, Jonathan Carney, Kenneth Camille, Lady T, Laura the Modern Major General Story, Mad Mitch Dunaway, Mike Jackson, Mr. Peabody and his evil twin with the beautiful hair, On to June, Orange Hat Reviews, Out of Step with Reality, Outpost Dyer, Riff Magos, Rosetta Allen, Steve Glasker, Teresa Martin, Theodore Bendon, Tina Bojan, and Tina B. Thank you very much for being my supporters over on Patreon. And to my Subscribe Star members, stand for John B., Perpetual Punster, Robert Revo, Mr. Roy, Glinzer, Darkstar57, J. Alex McCarthy Jr., US 888-209 Fast, Dean Heiss, Harold Francis, J-Rod the Beer Guru, Nevadon G. Adams, and the K-Man. Thank you so very much for being my supporters over on Subscribestar, and a shout out to all of my supporters on both platforms. If you yourself want to get your name shouted out at the end of every single video and live stream, please consider joining on Patreon or Subscribestar. You can also get access to exclusive giveaways, to an exclusive podcast that I do twice a month with my friend John the Flick Pig Flickinger, where we talk about just random stuff going on in the movies, our reviews, and also we take Q&A questions from everyone as well in those categories. So if you would like to have any of those things or access to them, or even the biggest of them all, to be one of my chosen of Valhalla and get a t-shirt during your first month, and also have access to be featured on the channel once a month on the Chosen of Valhalla live stream, please consider checking that out in the links in the description below. You guys are all amazing and beautiful people. Have a wonderful day, and as always, God bless.